everyone. So excited to be here today. If it's 11 a.m. Eastern Time, it's the Hour of Empower live stream. Today's word of the day is success. Chat's open. We really rely on your comments to direct our thinking and hopefully give you some really quality takeaways that you can apply and justify the time thought that you're putting in today. I'm so honored to have two wonderful guests with me, Elizabeth Falloon and William Gay III, from different areas of the country. Actually, William's from Michigan, where I'm originally from. And Elizabeth, where are you from?
South Florida.
South Florida. What a great place to be when it's 20-some degrees up here. So, like I say, the word of the day is success. I'll turn it over to Elizabeth first. Elizabeth can kind of bring us up to date and give us her initial thoughts on success. Elizabeth?
Thank you, Donald. Well, the first thing that came to my mind was actually my own personal experiences for success, because I feel that we all have our own definitions about success. And it actually took me back to my initial career when I was in my 20s. And hi, Tanya. And I always seem to have chased the promotions. I always wanted to go after the promotions, and you know, the minute I started at the counter as a manager, I put my mindset where every month I'm going to accomplish my goals, and I'm going to do more than accomplish those goals, those sales goals, and I want that promotion, and I did. So, you know, over the years within that experience of my first career, I did so many things, but it was always coming from a place of chase.
Mm-hmm.
And chase eventually got me nowhere. So I was attaching myself to that, and you know, I started getting burnt out. And by the time when I got the promotions, if I didn't get a particular promotion, I would then search for something new within the same industry by wearing a different hat that would actually take me to another level of feelings of, you know, just basically another promotion and more money. So after the promotions, then the money, the thought of wanting more money came in. So, you know, I established a lovely place on the beach in Boca Raton here in South Florida. And I remember I was able to afford the things of the external world. And I started getting bored. So I had my own circle of friends. And then, you know, with that boredom became loneliness. And I decided that I wanted to start settling down and I wanted to start a family. And that was actually when I learned a whole new, I learned about success in many different ways when that part of my life showed up. So I take it over to Donald or.
Well, now I'll send it over to William right after I recognize some of these wonderful people who are making this show possible. Here's Carrie, who tells our jokes every day. The chemist asked the other one where argon went, since it's argon. Okay, gets better. Tanya's here. Tanya was on the show yesterday from South Africa. She's into sales funnels. So great to have you again and part of the community. Carrie says hello to us. Here we go with Debbie, who's our butterfly lady who helps the migration down to Mexico every year and has just come down to Florida after living in Wisconsin for 6 months a year and using the summer retreat now. Leslie's here. Leslie will be here Saturday. Leslie's here pretty much every Saturday. She also has Think and Grow Rich on Fridays. Mind Over Matter on Mondays. It's an audio event, and I know she's starting something up with Paul Deutsch pretty soon on a Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday. Dennis is here, an everydayer, owns a wonderful HVAC company for 40-some years in Denver. Good morning. Thanks for reminding us successfully that success matters. For sure, Dennis. So swinging it back to William, welcome to the show, a first timer, you know, and I've had a chance to talk to William. William knows Elizabeth well, colleagues. And with that said, William, why don't you share a little bit about yourself to our audience and a little bit about your initial thoughts on success?
Thank you. So I'm William. As ugly as I am, y'all just have to deal with it. I'm sorry. It is the way it is. I've been coaching and mentoring and consulting for over 35 years. I've been a corporate executive as well as an entrepreneur, a millionaire. I owned a resort marina in Northern California. And I bring all of that experience to changing people's lives. My focus is everyone watching. You guys influence in your own way. And I feel if everyone influences in a positive way, we have a better self-worth and a better community and country and everything else. So that's my focus. Enough of the boring stuff. The big thing about success is a word that I really get from Elizabeth is resilience. Mm-hmm. And being able to come back from the setbacks makes the biggest difference. That we all have problems, whether they're drastic, huge things, and they're all different based on our own perceptions. And so having that resilience, that ability to come back from those things, that's a difference between success and failure. It really is. And so success is huge, but everyone defines success differently. I work with somebody and they say, so what do you want? Well, I want to be happy. Okay, you're killing me. What is happy? Happy is different for everyone. So the resilience to, first understanding self comes first. Naked firefighters are not very successful for some odd reason. I don't know why. You've got to have the gear, the training, and then you go in and you get to save people. So whether you're an HVAC person, which is huge, the resilience, you're going to have up times, you're going to have bad times, but the resilience and the improvement is going to lead to whatever it is that person defines as success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent use of words, and I think it really sends the right message is, are you looking for long-term success or short-term success, right? Is it going to be sustainable? Is it durable? Is it scalable? Is it duplicatable? Or is it a one-time, hey, and that's nothing wrong with having a celebration over one thing at a time, and I think one has to be open to all the success that's available to you. So in other words, like Elizabeth said, are you chasing or are you attracting? If you're drawing people to you based on how you communicate, how you share, then your calendar will fill up by itself. And then your focus goes to being the chooser, right? When you have more options, when you have more demand than supply, you can start qualifying better. Well, who is a nicer person to work with? Who can I learn from? Who can I be enjoyable and happy with? And, when you don't have that, then a lot of times it's trading time for money for anybody who'll pay it, right? If someone says my fee is $300 and someone says, let's do it, naturally you'll say do it. But if the person is not what you're into and you're not what they're into, no judgment, it's just not a good fit. Can you make those choices out of integrity? And that will sustain long-term success when you have confidence, when you're based on honesty, when it's authentic, when people are right with each other. And if you can get that, whatever you apply, that philosophy or strategy is going to play out better. Then I need something, I want something, you have something, how do I get some of that something? And what that means is you're making money off of people instead of with or for people. Why not create so much value that there's plenty to go around and no one has to take a hit, right? And that's sustainable. You get the low-hanging fruit. Once once you taste that first early success that you did something about to get, you want to get back into the batting cage, right? Once you hit a home run, when you didn't even believe you could. I think that's the key, is consistency, practice, and asking and giving help. So with that, before we turn it over to Elizabeth, this must be Carrie. Ranadeb comes every day from India, says the same two things in the same two comments. I like that, consistency. Also wonderful to join. We have a new individual here I've never seen or met, but sure welcome to be here. And we're always open to what everybody's thought of success is for themselves to share, because if 40 people or so can share at the same time, look at the amount of reach we can get, because everybody here has a network. Everybody can amplify their message, this message, whatever message, and make sense. 35 years of bringing in business and being positive. We can't get much more consistent, because I know how many changes took place in the last 35 years. And if you started a business 35 years ago, you probably had to reinvent yourself about 7 times. So that shows resilience and hard work. Success is the achievement of desired goal, outcome, or objective. So true. Coming back with success is very important for all individuals, as it provides individuals with motivation to set and pursue meaningful goals. And then the last one to catch up, success is more than just hard work. You need skill, timing, and a bit of luck. I'll turn over to Elizabeth, but the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? When the door knocks and you can't get to it, the opportunity wasn't there, you weren't open to it or ready for it or expecting it. So Elizabeth, how do you layer on to where we started here?
I was actually just thinking about when I share through stories, right? I share through my own experiences, and I just remembered when I feel that I've actually accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish in my prior career, and I started getting that feeling of boredom, and it was time to settle down and start a family. That was really when my definition of success changed completely. And when I had my son, I remember just when I crashed, and I just was in this place of being broken, and I saw others out there who were thriving with their own lives and their career, etc. I was actually, and I felt that could I have been a part of that? Absolutely, I could have, but my priority now was really to be with my son, because that was by choice. I chose that role. I put that hat on, and I wanted to wear that hat. And even though I missed the lifestyle, but at the same time, now my responsibility is taking care of my son, and I wanted to make sure that he was happy, and he got the things that he needed, and mom was there and mom was available. So I made the sacrifices to give that to him, as much as there was poverty around us, but I still found happiness throughout that. Just seeing his smiles every morning gave me joy, and nothing else really mattered to being able to come home after putting in a 12, 13-hour day with work, and he was always the last child, either at the daycare or at the owner's home, right? And it was I lived for that, and that was actually rather joyful. My eyes lit up each time I saw my son. So my feelings of success, looking back on those times, even though I didn't think, oh, I've finally reached where I wanted to be. No, it was just taking things one step at a time, one moment at a time, being present with my son, and just being present always. Anyway, so.
Well, I think to William's point, which you kind of shared, is success is different to different people. Some people with a lot of money and a great career would trade it all for a son and somebody to share time with, and you can't be on two sides of the fence at the same time. So you really got to choose what resonates with you. And different times of your life, you have different expectations of what is successful. When you're 16, you just want a fast car. When I was growing up, You know, that was success. You know, you wanted things that were more superficial, you know, or vanity oriented. And then as you mature, those things aren't as important because now you've gotten into a different world and you're a different person. You know, there's a saying, for things to change, you have to change.
Mm.
You know, because the world's not going to change for you. And the world and time is going to keep coming at you. And so there is no time out. You may be inactive, but in most cases, you're walking up a down escalator at that point, you know, and it is momentum. And where do you get stability, you know, and where do you feel comfortable? And I think that's through community, you know, because now you can say, I'm not alone. You know, that's why support groups are so good. Everybody's there dealing with the same thing and sharing how they deal with it, and a little bit more to keep you in the game. You know, most people would just give themselves one more day before they make a dramatic decision. You know, if they said, okay, listen, let me sleep on it. What's going to change? Because once you quit, once you leave, you can't come back, right? And you probably won't want to come back after you just left. So the point is what got you so excited to get into what you're about to leave? And since then, how much have you learned? How much have you experienced that you're even better than you were when you started? But it's a slow go, or in most cases, missed expectations. You can't be a doctor in 3 weeks, right? Everybody knows it takes years. And I think success in anything is like that. So, William, why don't you take it from here?
Well, a lot of things that you're saying, Don, I agree with. In fact, there's nothing that I disagree with. Life is life. You know, it is what it is. And it's always how we interact with life that makes the difference. Mm-hmm. And as I look at one of Ray's success is very important for individuals as it provides individuals with motivation. I've got to disagree actually with that to some extent as my picture freaks out, but I'm still here. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. I don't know what's going on. Even that, there's a perfect example. Is it success to have a good picture? You know, I look at my little picture over to the side and I actually have shoulders, you know, but the way this program has done, you know, I'm narrow and you got to look at this big head that I have. What is success? Is success simply having, oh, there you are. Now I've got shoulders. Look at that. It's amazing. How wonderful. Life 101. Okay. People will always do what hurts least and feels best. Mm-hmm. It's just life. You know, it's literally the way we are biologically wired. So it's not a carrot and a stick. See, I want the carrot. I want the carrot. I want the carrot. It's a case of I'm hungry. See, I'm trying to solve a problem. And the problem for a lot of people feels like we're always going for the carrot, but we're not looking at the underlying reason why. Mm-hmm. What is it about that carrot that I want to get to? What I want to do is solve my hunger. Do I have to get that carrot? Or, hey, I've got food right next to me. Maybe this is the way to go. Mm-hmm. So, you know, philosophers have said for decades, centuries, literally, you know, we all have problems. But life isn't good or bad inherently. It's how we interact with it. The choices we make dictate the lives that we lead. And it really helps. I mean, I've got to commend the audience. You guys are brilliant for showing up. I know this is my first podcast with you, but the yearning, the seeking of knowledge is the way to succeed at whatever you want to do. Be a better parent, succeed at your business, communicate better with other staff, you know, with other people you're working. Showing up is the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. It really is. It really helps, though, if you can understand what is it you're trying to get out of showing up. Again, mm-hmm. Why am I seeking that carrot? Well, I'm seeking it because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Please, Elizabeth.
No, I'm sorry. I just realized that so many of us are in this constant search And like William said, you know, we don't even know why. We don't even ask ourselves why. Why do we want this? And sometimes, and there are times when we do get it, and then we do get it, we no longer want it. It's really not what we were hoping for. And so there lies the discouragement and the disappointment, and then we start to question ourselves, and then there lies the self-doubt. So I've been in that place before, and it's not a really good place to be. So, you know, I feel that it is important to approach something with intentions and really ask why, because we focus more on the outcome as opposed to the purpose. And do we really belong? I'm going to speak for myself. When doors opened up for private aviation, I never dreamt of being a flight attendant ever in my life. But doors opened up. It was an opportunity, and it was a job, and I needed to work. And it was a wonderful experience, absolutely. And you know, I just realized that if it weren't for private aviation, I would not be stepping out and using my voice to support single moms, because just flying alone, it actually made me realize what my true purpose was. And that's to come from a place of service, not necessarily a glass of champagne, sorry, but in the cabin. But
champagne's good, come on. Especially if you put strawberries in it. That matters. You gotta have the strawberries in the champagne. Pickles in the champagne. Pickles in the
but it's just really coming from a place of service, and that's what fills my cup, and that's what I learned throughout my experiences with my son, being a single mom, going throughout the hardships in life of raising him. I learned so much about what success, the true definition of success is to me personally, and that's really purpose, and amongst other beautiful things. So anyway, just wanted to.
You know, I think that's terrific. Because when you really look at everything, there's a balance, right? How many people are successful in every part of their life but one, right? Their relationships are great, their career is great, but financially they can't keep up with stuff, you know, or you name it. You know, one is really flourishing, but your family life is suffering, right? And most people are put in a position of making a choice instead of making an adjustment to the balance, right? Moving the needle a little bit more to there, you know, because, you know, they say a rocket ship is off course 97% of the time. It's the gyroscope that keeps bringing it back. So you're always going to drift. You're always going to get pushed in different directions. How do you respond, get back in the game? And the other part of it, success, is, are you having fun while you're doing it, right? Why do you have to, like, oh, this is hard work, this is sacrifice, this is struggle? You keep telling yourself how much you're struggling, sacrificing, and everything else, and see how fast you're not playing that game anymore, right?
If I could piggyback onto that, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The challenge becomes, especially, we're human beings. We can't see the forest of our own trees. And this is where a successful business, a successful individual, we're also, where is the difference between achievement and fulfillment, and where is the success of that? But regardless, taking some time, once a month, once a quarter, semi-annual, whatever, businesses do it monthly. They stop and they say, how are we doing? What's going on? Is what we're doing successful? And, you know, how could I do better? Taking that time to look at ourselves, because, as you said, the rocket ship, a sailboat, same concept. They're always off course, but they're not off course. But you still have to constantly check and say, how am I doing? You know, where's the wind coming from? Where am I being pushed to, or gravitation if it's a rocket? So I couldn't agree more with you, Dawn. We've got to take that time, though, to stop and ask how and what. Not whys. Why am I being pushed off course? That doesn't matter. Why is a horrible question. But how and what? How are things going? What's going to make a difference? That type of thing. And that's where we look at an Elon Musk, we look at PayPal, his original thing, it's feedback and what's going on. It doesn't have to be necessarily feedback from an individual, but our own feedback, studying profit and loss, studying, what am I getting? Am I getting the results that I want?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was joking that, I'm single. Okay, so all the single women in the podcast need to reach out to me. Okay, maybe not. But the point is, if what I am doing is not getting me a relationship, then what I am doing is not being effective. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
No judgment. It's just not getting me what I want. So whatever any of our guests are looking for, if you've been doing it for 6 months, if you've been doing the same thing for 6 months and it's not getting you what you want,
Mm-hmm.
it's time to do something different. Whether that's reach out to a coach, reach out to a consultant, reach out to your priest. It doesn't matter, but something different to adjust your course, ask those how and what questions. All a map is a forest, is a direction through the forest.
That sounds like it's also coming from a place of awareness, because not everyone is actually aware. They would
I'm
say
the least aware person I can try to be.
it really, awareness is what that's it. It's a mindset of awareness.
Well, to both of your points, you need feedback from yourself, but you also need feedback from your community.
Mm.
And your community, I'll move myself. Your community is the ones who are here right now. This is the community you're part of, that everybody took the time today, participating, learning, sharing, growing together. That's where you ask them questions, right? I'd love some feedback. You're getting feedback because people comment and like on your stuff.
Mm.
So someone who commented took the time to offer you some insight or advice, hopefully for the right intention. And how many times do you reach back and say, thank you for that nice comment? And by the way, I notice we're in the same kind of stuff. Might make sense to have a call, right? Being proactive instead of reactive. Whatever, if you're waiting for something to happen, it's going to happen when it happens. Whatever you do is not going to dissuade that from happening, but you don't have to wait. And maybe you can create a better happening than what you were hoping for. Like Elizabeth said, you go down one road and you see a different road you would have never seen if you didn't go down that first road. And just like an adjustment, you decide, hey, this looks like a nicer road, a stronger road. But the other thing, who's going to walk with me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you got 4 or
That's
5
huge.
people walking with you, you're going to be entertained. You're going to have company. You're going to forget how much you're walking. Right? How many times did you get so involved with someone that time, you say, geez, it's 2 in the morning. How did that happen? Right? Because you got lost in the conversation. And that's what you need to leverage. LinkedIn allows you to do polls. So if you got a question, ask everybody who follows you, here's my question. Please, if you're interested, I'd love to hear your feedback. If you're open to everybody, and also friendly when you allow them to come in. You can't ask for help and then when it comes, start asking a lot of questions about it, right? So, I think it's all in or at least studying. And I think to William's point, make time for self-reflection every day, for review, even if it's 20, 30 minutes in the morning and it's 20, 30 minutes maybe in midday.
Could be 5 minutes.
Yeah, and
taking that time is important.
Absolutely. Schedule your personal time, schedule your walk, right? It's 2:00. I committed 30 minutes on my schedule to getting out and getting some fresh air right now, because you'll be better when you come back and you'll be healthier. And when you're healthier, that's a much better foundation for success, right? So go ahead, Elizabeth.
It sounds like we've been talking quite a bit about professional success, success professionally, and things that are attached to that. with being driven and going places and accomplishing things. What about the intangibles? What about the personal success within self, right? Meaning being peaceful with self, being joyful, being in a mindset of gratitude, and those are things that are really, really, yeah. Let's talk about that. I want to
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah, I think you make a great point, and we'll swing it back to William, is that I'm grateful just to be alive every morning, right? And if you start with a low threshold of gratitude, right, where you don't have to do a lot of stuff or get a lot of stuff to get even, right, where you're not taking a debt into the future, but you're looking for positive change. And, where's the rush? If you had a great book, would you rush through it? You'd probably slow it down. You start, you had a great meal, you'd probably cut it a little bit slower and you'd savor it a little bit more, right? So if you're on a quality pursuit, if you're excited by what could be, and you know what I always factor into all my business plans is who am I yet to meet this year and what am I yet to learn, right? That's going to help whatever we do. And the thing is, if you're not too caught up in yourself, if you involve yourself in something bigger than yourself, you lose yourself in it. And then you don't think about how I'm not getting a fair share, how I'm getting taken advantage of, how everybody else has something, right? The only person you can control is you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can look at what everybody else is doing and why they got what they got, but what difference will that make? Like William says, it is what it is. It only changes when you add something to it for as long as you want, right? You break a glass yesterday, and if today you start thinking about where it came from, what it cost, you're losing the present to something that's never going to change in the past, and it's going to negatively impact your future, right? It's all momentum and where are you moving? And I think little things done right over time compound, right? You can't read a whole book, you can read a page. What can you do? Not what can't you do, or what are you waiting for something to happen to allow you to do? And that's a trap people get into. People win because a lot of people don't play. If you're the only game in town, you're the best thing going until there's something else that shows up. So William, I think Elizabeth makes a great point. Is everything we're talking about kind of blends together, anyways. Personal,
It really
professional.
does. It really does. I'm reminded of, it was a week or two ago. Elizabeth was kind enough to invite me to Leslie's podcast, The Think and Grow Rich, and phenomenal. I mean, she does a great job. Other than I have to disagree, she brought up Edison. Edison was a jerk. I mean, he stole so many patents. He sold, but that's a whole different paradigm. Think and Grow Rich is like when we first started and we were saying, what is success? What is rich? Is it personal richness? Is it financial richness? Again, it's however we want to define it. And this is where I encourage everyone to go to Leslie's thing and listen to it, because she's spot on. And, so is Think and Grow Rich. We have to think about it and understand what it is for us. What are we going after? And the other thing was, as we're droning on, as we're monologuing to everyone, I know I'm the new person. I apologize, Don, if this is going, but I invite, what is something that everyone's been working on for at least 6 months and they haven't accomplished? What problems are you coming up with so that we can talk about that and let's do something different to get you that result that you want. Otherwise, I mean, again, showing up is huge, but millimeter every day. Well, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You got to take that step, and that's huge. Reaching out and being brave enough, and it is brave, to comment, to ask, to say, okay, I haven't reached this. I mean, if somebody has suggestions how I can stop being single, bring it on. Make comments. It comes down to the what do you want and what have you not gotten. You're all here for something. You're looking for something. I invite you personally to share that, at least whatever you feel safe with. so that we can address and hopefully make a difference in your lives today and in the little bit of time we have left. Otherwise, you're going to finish this. You may feel better, you may feel worse, but you will have accomplished almost nothing. And Don is phenomenal. He's been in business, for so long. He's got so much experience, and Elizabeth has been through it, and the resilience that she's come up with. Me, I'm just a windbag, so ignore me. But, bring it on. I can't invite you enough. Bring in the comments, have things to say. Even Leslie, look, you're successful, you're doing things, but you're still striving for something. Make a comment, be the first, step up, don't be alone. Let us know what's going on.
Well, that sure gets people off their feet. So, what I see is,
I'm not seeing the comments. Where are the comments?
they're on the
You
side.
got to hit comment thing on your side there.
What's going on? What I want to say.
We're just ignoring you, Elizabeth. It's all good.
I'll share them for us. The main thing with success is building on success. We're also talking about coming from tragedy to triumph, coming from lack to abundance. There's a lot of people that practice success because there's a method to it, right? There's an element that you have to, first of all, be open to success.
Mm-hmm.
Be open to other people helping you achieve success. No person by themselves is going to do as much as in a community of like-minded.
It takes a team. It takes a community, yeah.
And it's more fun that way. So once you go about, it's kind of like a movie, right? You have a vision of what the movie is. You create a screenplay or an outline. You start, getting the actors in, getting the costumes, getting the scenes. It's the same thing. How do you want to build your own success movie, right? What part do you want to play? Who do you want to co-star with you? And, everything is a production at that point. But it's art, right? And it's taking on a different meaning than I need something, I get something, I have something, right? Because that's too shallow, that's too superficial, and life is too short and valuable to be superficial. No one gets out of here alive. So what's everybody waiting for? What do you have that won't be taken from you one day if you don't use it?
And right with that, if I could pause, Carrie
Sure.
had an excellent comment. He's for what he's doing, he's looking at some more certifications. And what you just said, Dawn, to my mind, is the perfect segue into that. What has prevented you from doing that in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Was it simply awareness, or did you know all the time? And the more we understand, again, then we can move forward. Then we can make those things. You're spot on, Don. I couldn't agree more.
Well, great. It's nice to have agreement. And with that, I'll swing it over to Beverly. Beverly's here every Tuesday. It's actually going to start her live, I believe, this Thursday. I want everybody to get out there and support Beverly and what she's doing. Just wonderful lady, and whoever I bring on with her is always better for her. So thank you, Beverly. We've got somebody telling me I'm the godfather. Well, great. I've done this 450 days in a row, except for one day I took off to see my grandkids play soccer. So shows you can take off and it doesn't have to be a serious.
What were you thinking? Supporting your grandchildren?
Well, what it shows is priority and importance, right? Because those are the people who will always be there for you. You got to give the most support to the most supportive to make it sincere. Kelly's
look at Beverly's comment. Did you see Beverly's comment about the conditioning?
Yeah, I'll catch that. Kelly's here tomorrow with a new lady, Lisa Goldenthal. If you know her, she's just amazing, and she's done so much on LinkedIn, and she's prodigious. Beverly does say everyone is striving for something. That's the human condition. Well, everybody should be striving for something more, for something better. And you can win by allowing and supporting other people's win. There's something to be successful vicariously. How many times did you see somebody that never had an ice cream, right? And you're thinking, hey, just for the joy of seeing their expression, I'll give my ice cream up today, right? And you enjoy it more and you have more fun and you feel good about yourself. And I think that's why people a lot of times fail at success, is they don't think they're worthy. They're afraid what people will think if they come out of the shadows.
Mhm.
You know, they're going to be like, oh, they always told me I wasn't good enough. And they're right. But who is it that has been seeing and telling you this? Maybe it's that environment that's not right. Maybe you're right when you get around supportive people in a safe environment where you can be vulnerable, because why hold it in? I think to William's point, everybody woke up today with questions. It could be, how do I pay my bills? It could be, how do I make an appointment with a prospective employer? Whatever it is, you've got a question. And there's never been more access and opportunity to get your questions answered. Go to Google, go to YouTube. I mean, as soon as I see something like this, before I got on StreamYard, I spent an hour, on YouTube. And I got 12 6-minute tutorials, right? After 12 people who supposedly are doing this for a living or for a professional benefit, I got conversational. So when I actually looked at the directions, I knew what that meant or something. So why not buy vowels before you try to solve the puzzle? Why not ask questions? Because two things will happen. Either you get validation and confirmation, right? Someone will say, hey, I see just like you do, it's clean, go for it. Or by the way, I see a facet here or a nuance that needs some addressing to really beef this thing up. Did you ever hear of a poll of one? And that's what usually people give you. They're an authority on something all by themselves and with their thinking. But if you got 10 people in a room, now that one could have been the 1 out of 10 instead of the 1 out of 1. And if you're always open to, I always say, make it about it and not you, because then you won't take it personal. Right? If it becomes mine, go ahead, Elizabeth.
I guess I'm looking at that word again, conditioning, and sometimes that word can actually, it can cost us, right? Because we are conditioned. So there are times when we might have to take a step back and recondition our minds, because we're always striving, we're always on autopilot, just going after something. So like you said earlier, Donald, about balance, yeah? And just having to recondition our minds to really just get back on track and just go at that pace that will work for us to create that balance. Yeah.
Well, I think to your point, before we swing it back to William, one has to really understand the dynamics of the playing field. How do they reinvent themselves for the future, not just for the present? Who do they bring with them along for the ride? And who do they let off at the next stop? If you're the factor of the 5 people you spend the most time with, where are all these 5 people going? That's where you're going to be going with them if you're with them. And some people are meant to be a transfer. Right? They got you here and they let you off, and then you got to pick up another ride somewhere to get you there, or create your own vehicle, which would be better. And, self-sufficiency is so important, right? The cavalry doesn't always show up. Why don't you have backup? Why don't you have a reserve that says, I know it's probably going to take 3 days, but if it takes 6, it's okay, because the only thing that matters is we get there. And what other choice do you have? At the same time, everybody has a neutral gear. Everybody has a reverse gear. You can always back out of something once you see it's not where you want to be, but allow yourself to see it first instead of fear it first. Because once you bring fear into it, success goes right out the window, because there's always something. If it's not this, it'll be that, right? People are so creative in their excuses not to do things, that if they apply that creativity to doing things or trusting, and I think that's the other part of success. When I went from one store to 2 stores, I had no choice but to trust someone, right? A lot of people never want to leave that store because they're afraid someone's going to steal, it's not going to be right. they find out how unimportant they have become because they've just shrunk the goldfish bowl that they're swimming in, right? And you never see a fish get bigger than the bowl you put it in. So I'll swing it over to William after the aquarium talk. And
I love aquariums. Aquariums are great. Right off, I've got to agree with Debbie. I mean, she said, in my experience, when I add value to others, I feel successful. There is no higher calling than service to others, whether that's at a service station, whether that's as a flight attendant, it just grabbing a cart for someone, at the grocery store. Serving others is where success truly. McDonald's is serving others. And the other paradigm, when we talk about community, I'm gonna disagree slightly with you, Don, that who you share with actually matters. A shameless plug for your Friday host, Jeff Latke. I'm saying his name wrong. Jeff. He has a prayer group Monday through Friday. Now, whether you're religious or not really doesn't matter, but you have a group of people coming together that are purely there to support you, to support what it is that you're seeking, and to say thank you. Thank you to the universe. Thank you to God, if that's who you believe in. It doesn't matter, but you have a group of supportive people that's a safe place to come together and communicate. And if you're in an office situation, for example, it's difficult. You don't know where other people are coming from. There's a terrific book, Never Eat Lunch Alone. And the tricky bit is, who do you trust eating lunch with? The premise is brilliant, which is to go out and network. Again, serve others, discover what they're up to and what they're going about. But we also have to be cautious, that you're not going to lay your soul. I love using dating as an analogy. And that's on a first date, you're not going to lay out, I'm looking for 10 kids and I'm looking for this and the other thing. You're just going to blow, the other person away. They're just going to be, and the same is true with who you share with. The gift of sharing from a psychological standpoint is it's a release. It lets it go. But depending on who you're sharing with, that could also be a curse, because are they poo-pooing on the thing that you came up with, or are they empowering you and bringing you up? So who you share with really matters. A group like this is huge. It's fantastic. I invite you, check out the Friday one with Dawn and Jeff. And check out the prayer time, religion or not. It has nothing. It is prayer time for professionals, but the point is, even Alcoholics Anonymous has changed. It doesn't have to be in God. I personally believe in God. I like that, but the point is, you're not in this alone. And here's a safe, empowering place to be.
Well, and to that point, everybody in their community has support opportunities, right? There's religious organizations, there's groups like Toastmasters that allow people to be with other people who are trying, either usually second language people, but people that need help communicating, people who need other people, and I look at our audience, I always say, like a polishing wheel. If you lean into it, it'll start, telling you where there's some imperfections, right? Based on the feedback, okay, a little bit to the left. Great. Thanks for telling me that. I always watch these videos without the sound on, just for a few minutes, just to see the energy, the facial expression. They say no one cares about your words. They only listen to your music, right? If you're dancing on the stage and enthusiastic and excited, how many times you've been around family or friends and you walk in and they're laughing hysterically and they can't stop and they're crying? In 2 seconds, you're laughing and you didn't even know what the joke was, right? Just by being part of that energy. So part of success is raising your vibration, raising your energy level. Why? Because of what's going on around you, and you find yourself that if you're with a bunch of worrywarts and a bunch of doubting Thomases and all those different people, oh, they're going to put questions in your mind. Why are you doing this? Risk, reward go hand in hand. And there is no reward without risk. Nothing that's scalable. You can win a lottery ticket and put a buck in, but you'll never figure out how to do it again or help somebody else do it again. So, there's been a principle that says everything you do takes you either closer to your goal or further away, right? If you in the next half hour say, I'm going to take a course and learn this, or watch a video and learn this, oh, I'll just go watch some game show and be entertained. And you know what it does? It numbs you. It keeps you where you're at, because and that's what social media a lot of times. It's like, hey, I just started watching this. I'm 40 minutes into more of these videos on dogs or cats or whatever it is, and my life has just got sucked into this when I could have been actually planting, cultivating, harvesting something. And you got to be your best boss. How many people do things for bosses they hate, have no respect for, but refuse to do the same thing for themselves because they don't have to, right? And if you won't work harder for yourself than someone else, you should be working for someone else then, right? If that's what it takes to get you up in the morning, to get you working, to get you doing. But I think in most cases, people start to figure, this boss of mine, I wouldn't even hire him to support me. And I'm being hired to support them. And I think it's save a lot of money and just move that person out and move me up. But that's the power you have to yourself. Tomorrow you can call yourself whatever you want. Give yourself every title, right? But now you got to go to work, and recognition, they say, is the number one motivator in the workforce. Well, how much do you recognize yourself? How many times do you count the quality things you do every day and what you've done in your life against the new thing that just showed up that makes you feel bad, right? And if you get good enough at being good enough, you accept the challenge, because I always know in my mind, I've been through worse and I've seen worse. So whatever comes my way, I got a way of putting it in some sort of context. And, just like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One slice at a time. Well, how do you solve a problem? One day at a time. I've been faced with personal and professional tragedy. And what I learned is when it happens, I realized it's going to take a long time to get over this, right? Where's the fire? I mean, why are you going to knock yourself out? Label it, file it, get back to it. But don't let it stop where you've been going and what you've been doing. And I think that's essential. So Beverly comes back. Yes, Don, great point. You have to feel deserving or won't get what you've been trying to receive. And you won't celebrate it if you didn't think you deserved it. Right? Debbie comes back.
I like her next point, though. The only way to achieve or grow is to take the leap of faith. Fear keeps us. To my mind, just to bring up real quick, and I'm watching the time as we get close to our hour. I'll say, how's somebody doing? And they'll say, I've got no complaints. And my attitude is, complaints are brilliant. Too many of us don't have complaints to what you're saying, Dawn. Complaints are fantastic. That means we're not happy and we have something to strive for. There's something to work on. The best news in the review, to my mind, is you're doing a bad job. I shouldn't say that you're necessarily doing a bad job, that this could be better, this could be, that you're doing a great job. The pat on the head is all well and good, but you can't fix good. So to hear that this needs to be improved or again, to have a complaint, I'm upset with my spouse, I'm upset with my boss, I'm upset with, brilliant, wonderful. It only becomes bad when you don't do something about it.
Well, and I think, the key to responding is, what is this going to make a difference for the person I'm responding to? I mean, how many times did you get angry and in a moment type up a quick email, but you were smart enough to wait till the morning to press send? right?
Abraham Lincoln, there you go. Although he didn't have email, but yeah.
You get to the point of like, hey, that's exactly how I felt at the time. But that's not how I should make this person feel now.
Mhm.
Right? So what is it that's important I share? And it should be what it is that I'm focused on that just happened. Right? So to have a person get an opportunity to say, well, let me explain. Once you've already judged something, and once you've already labeled it that something, the person getting back on top is minimalized. Plus, it also shows, where's your impatience? Where is a little tolerance for understanding? And I think everything you do there is like a match. It either lights fire or it doesn't. Right? And everything you send out there can motivate somebody, light a fire. And the beauty of these shows is it's not just the audience today. How many people for the next 30, 40 years will see this and get a tip, will get a message? How many people will be helped that we'll never get a chance to see, get to know? But we know what we did here today, especially since everything we're talking about is evergreen information. There's nothing that dates this, that times this. It's all about hope, success. I mean, people have been talking about this as long as people have been talking. So the question is, it's not a matter of can it happen, but when it happens for you, how it happens, and what did you get from it to make it continue to move in that direction? I mean, how many people had the lowest beginnings? Were marginalized, were considered not smart enough, not strong enough, not fast enough, not whatever enough. And they didn't accept that judgment. Right? Leslie always talks about Think and Grow Rich on Napoleon Hill's son who didn't have any ears. And this was like, 130 years ago. There wasn't a lot of medicine or technology or anything else, but his faith, his belief that, when the doctor said, Napoleon, I know you can do so many things no one thought could be done, but you are faced here with something that you can change. And his response was, if all I can do is pray, then that's enough, right? So, when we talk about tangibles and intangibles, there's another saying, nothing's ever been invented. Everything's been discovered, right? It's always been here. It's how people found it, how people put it together. And some things take time. And some things, how many times have people said, you can't do that, or that's impossible? And all of a sudden, everybody proved them wrong. The 4-minute mile was an example, into the moon, something not falling off the earth in the early explorers' days. So I know we're coming up on top of the hour. Kelly's here. Agree. Love that, Debbie. It's nice for love to be into comments. It's nice to allow yourself to express how you truly feel, not embellish it, but also not minimize it. So I'll swing it over to William. Final thoughts on the show. I know it moves so quick because of the audience interaction. So what's your thoughts now that you got a show under your belt?
It's a wonderful group, and given our shortness in time, you and I have dominated the conversation. I want to give any time left to Elizabeth for her thoughts.
Okay, well, fair enough. Elizabeth.
I was actually thinking, oops, I just froze. There's lots going on right now with the screen. I was actually thinking that when it comes to success, I really do feel that success should be shared. And whatever it is that you might know, that you feel that you can actually help someone else, share that with that person. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. And share it with humility.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And, keep reaching out and learning, sharing, growing. We can all win together. That's what they say, win, win, win. No one has to lose for everybody to win if everybody plays in a way that supports each other, and take responsibility and take accountability. You don't have to punish yourself with it, but accept it. I tried this, it wasn't working. It's okay. Now what do? When you climb a mountain, it's not a straight line, right? You go from base camp and you pivot here, you wait for the weather to clear. It's a process. Success is the same thing. You wait for your lane to open and you go as fast as you can. It's like NASCAR, and then you got to slow up at times. And that's the fun of it, is driving your car, having a car. Elizabeth?
Take someone with you. Remember, it's about sharing it with humility, right?
Well, that's so valuable, because to that point, it's so easy to tell somebody, hey, there's a speaker in town, you should go see him. To, hey, I just bought us 2 tickets, I'm going to pick you up, we're going to go to them, right?
Exactly.
Why not give the whole everything to make it easy? And why not give more than you're supposed to? Why not be the better person? If you can do 70% easily, do it. Everything will come together faster, and the person that had 30 will really appreciate that, because that's not typical.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are like, you give me this, I got to get this before I get something else. And it's you're majoring in the minors. So with that said, I want to thank everybody, especially the audience, for coming here, because without you, there is no us. Come back tomorrow. I'll share with you really quickly. We've got Kelly with Lisa Goldenthal. And on Friday, we got a special treat, Jeffrey Lackey and Amit and Kumar Ramswell, who I had the pleasure of talking to for yesterday, and they're doing some amazing things. And it gets better. Leslie is going to be our Saturday. Sarah is going to be her Sunday. Monday is going to be Gretchen, I think. It never ends. So many wonderful people. And Kelly finishes up with successful first time win, great conversation. Y'all, I can't tell, Kelly's got her shows, Awesome Journey, Tuesdays, 1:11 p.m. Eastern Time with Christy Howard. And both of them have been essential for building this show to what it is. So last thing I'll add, gratitude. Be grateful. Be grateful for everything you have and everybody you have, and never forget that. And that'll help you on your road to success, because thinking of someone who came before you, the shoulders you're standing on, you almost have an obligation to be successful, to prove those supporters all right. Your family, your friends, your teachers, you're living for them too. They put all that confidence in you. So anyways, thank you. Go on to have a beautiful day and be as successful as you can. Bye for now.
Hi, everyone.